None of the tragic events in my life were easy, but liberating myself from them helped me to evolve into a new human being and discover a way to eradicate the root cause of problems in our lives to create real well-being and freedom. Becoming a new kind of human is the key. With enhanced human potential, we can be free from generational problems, which are most of our problems, and live detached from the system that governs us. In this way, we are able to feel, think, and behave in a sane and healthy way. If we want to shape a society where people coexist in harmonious synergy with themselves, one another, and their environment, we must have a real understanding of our present reality. A real understanding is possible only if we see things as they really are. Freeing ourselves from our family's toxic emotional inheritance is therefore crucial, because this toxicity clouds our sight, distorts our vision, and prevents us from seeing the truth. The suffering that our family causes us is unnecessary, and contrary to what we've been made to believe, weakens us and impoverishes all aspects of our lives. Unnecessary suffering distracts us from seeing the changes that happen in our societies and our lives. When we suffer, we are vulnerable and susceptible to the harmful influences of the system that, with its often absurd narratives, hooks us and controls our behavior. Regarding this, clinical psychologist Matthias Desmet describes this interesting phenomenon in his book, The Psychology of Totalitarianism. By manipulating the way we feel, think, and behave through politics, institutionalized religion, entertainment, scientific dogma, and others, the system influences our behaviors for its own benefits. As Stuart Wilde says in his seminar, The Mastery of Money, the system feeds us just enough to keep us going so that we don't blow it away. Is this real freedom? By living in this condition, we are not responsible for our lives, and we are defined by something outside ourselves, meaning that we don't know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, how can we create a satisfactory life? Even if we achieve financial success, we will always feel as if something is missing in our lives because we don't have it inside ourselves. Also, to be defined by external influences is dangerous, because as soon as the system decides to close an institution we rely on or change its narrative, we are left without support or with a different harmful narrative in its place. Our inner and outer worlds collapse. How do we prevent the collapse of our worlds? The answer is simple. We become new human beings. New human beings are not defined by or anchored to the system. They define themselves and are anchored to themselves. This means that they have gone through an inner cleansing process, eliminated their family's toxic emotional inheritance, healed their emotional wounds, and emotionally detached themselves from the system. This allows them to find their essence, who they really are, develop the ability to see the modern world for what it truly is, and tap into their full potential. Some of the abilities of the new human being are to let their body guide them on what it needs to stay healthy, use their energy to control people's difficult behavior, know the difference between right and wrong and act accordingly, distinguish truth from lies, and use dreams as a communication tool and for guidance. New human beings want to create a functional reality for themselves and have a positive impact on their families and businesses. They want to leave a sane and healthy legacy in which justice, love, and truth are the pillars. New human beings are the ones who will survive any induced or unwanted change in our society because, from their elevated position, they will be capable of maintaining a solid foundation in their lives. The alternative is to continue to be slaves of the system and have no grip on our lives. In this case, we will still carry inside ourselves familial damaging influences and emotional wounds that, together with harmful societal influences, perpetuate problems we shouldn't have. From our daily struggles with unhealthy behaviors, professional problems, difficulties in parenting, problematic relationships, and illnesses, to more serious problems like domestic violence, civil unrest, wars, and famine. In a speech to a meeting of pediatricians and students that took place on March 20th, 1969, at the Pittsburgh Pediatric Society, Dr. Day was very clear about the intentions of and way in which the system influences our behaviors. The information we need to know is published. It is up to us to read it by first opening the door of doubt. It is through doubting and questioning everything that was taught to us that we can begin to liberate ourselves from the shackles that limit our understanding of ourselves and the way we live. Is what we know about our evolution correct? Molecular biologist Pietro Buffa and expert on the Bible and ancient religions Mauro Biglino have shown how creationist theory, according to which God created man, and evolutionary theory, Darwin's bio-evolutionary process due to natural selection, have their shortcomings when it comes to Homo sapiens. Both Buffa and Biglino, along with other experts, have re-advanced the hypothesis of a possible, if not probable, intervention by a superior intelligence, aliens, that through genetic engineering piloted our evolution into who we are today. Although this hypothesis might be rejected by most people, I hope it will prompt an open investigation into our reality with an eye to history. Knowing our present and understanding our past will enable us to have an idea of what our future will be. This gives us the power to choose the direction we want. What does becoming the new human being have to do with all this? The answer is simple. It is the way to step away from the programming of the system, the emergency exit from a present and future in which we continue to be enslaved to a system that is not interested in our well-being and that keeps us small, ill, and dissatisfied. Even if we have financial success, it does with us whatever it wants and needs to do to survive and empower itself. The new human being is free from the chains of the system and coexists with it without being attached to it emotionally and, hopefully, one day, financially. Is the advancement of AI beneficial to us? Artificial intelligence could be a further, more sophisticated attempt by the system to create a society of humans that will be under its total control. Now we are reaching a point of no return in our history, where our lives are about to change radically. AI is advancing exponentially and becoming every day more invasive. Will this be one more attempt by the system to finally have total control over humanity and perhaps cause it to go extinct? Have we become so useless and meaningless to the point that we can be easily replaced by robots? Will AI mark the culmination of the system's dream or cause its total destruction? Listening to the discussion about the advancement of AI has given me some points of reflection. Technology researchers and founders like Mo Gaudat, Mustafa Suleyman and Geoffrey Hinton, and physicists like Max Tegmark warn us about the threats of AI. Of course, they describe what the advantages are of having such powerful technology in our lives and how we can benefit from them. But is the risk worth it? They clearly state that there are short-term and long-term threats. The first one will be the disruption of our economy, because many jobs like journalism, programming, copywriting, and so forth will be done by machines. What will happen to those workers? If they are still young, they can reinvent themselves and find or create a job where they can use other talents. What if they can do that? What if they are not so young anymore? What will 50-year-old programmers do after dedicating their lives to a job they love, now that they are replaced by an AI that can code and program faster than they can day and night? Will they receive what the system calls basic income? If so, how much will it cost? And where will the money come from? Will it be enough for them and their families to enjoy and enrich life by, for example, traveling, studying, and purchasing what they wish? And what about spending their time? They might enjoy the first period as a holiday, but after that, how will they fill their days? Will their lives have meaning again? If not, what will happen to them and their mental and physical health? Like them, there might be millions of humans that in the near future will be living lives that are empty. They say that humans can get used to anything. Are they sure about that? Another short-term threat regards the end of truth, according to Mo Gaudat. Are we sure that we have been living in truth until now? Or could it be that now the lies will take a different shape than the lies we were made to believe previously? There will be more fake news and fake humans. Doesn't this mean that machines will spread information that is not accurate? Is this a way to further destabilize our lives and societies and manipulate us to do whatever the system wants? Also, machines have human shapes that would be difficult, if not impossible, to distinguish from real humans. Will we at one point marry robots? This scenario is anticipated in the movie They Live from 1988. Do we all need a pie? In an interview, Mustafa Suleyman states that everybody will have a pie. A pie, personal intelligence, will be our coach, our friend, our manager, ready to assist us, advise us, and choose for us in everything we do in our lives, even when we need someone to whom to vent our anger or frustration. Does this alienate us from ourselves even more than we already are? Does this mean the end of human friendship and connection? To me, it seems that machines are becoming more and more human-like, while humans are being dehumanized. At Neuralink, Elon Musk's startup, they have already put a microchip in a human brain. This could be a good thing for people who suffer from motor system dysfunction because they will gain control of their bodies. But will Neuralink's technology be used to help only those who need a chip? Or will it apply to all human beings? If an implant is put in our brains, this will mark the end of humanity. There could be consequences for our health. And what if someone hacks your brain and you can't have the microchip removed. Another person will have the control over you and you can't do anything about it. Also, could microchips be connected to a central station from which someone can control us? The movie The Truman Show with Jim Carrey was a clear depiction of this kind of mind control. Consciously or not, we are allowing it to happen. Is this what we really want for ourselves and our children? Even if we don't have children, for future generations? While most people will adhere to this process of dehumanization that might possibly result in their destruction, a small segment will change direction and distance themselves from the masses. These are the new human beings, pioneers of a new paradigm with an enhanced human potential that will allow them to be and do more than what is imposed on them. As creators of functional and constructive realities, new human beings will live in freedom and real well-being, and be the blueprint they will leave to their children and future generations.